Hey guys, it's Friday. Howdy, it's Friday. It's Friday. We made it to Friday. We're all alive. We're still breathing. I'm breathing. Hopefully you're breathing. We're all breathing and it's Friday. Yay! Here we are in Peace Home Studio. I'm looking around at some things and there's lots of projects going on as always. We're going to do a couple of updates and we're going to do a few confessions. Sometimes I don't finish things right away. It drives Mr. Murphy insane. I don't finish. I get bored sometimes, or I get a little put off. I know everybody's done this. You have a project, you're really excited about it, you got a new book, or you saw a cool thing on YouTube, or you went out with a friend and you rummaged around in a junky place and you got some really good ideas and you jumped in there with both feet and you kind of hit a little snag and it bummed you out because now you've got to take a little detour and you've got to fix this and you got to do that, and you sort of get disillusioned with your project. Or you make a project and it works out really great, but then you see something else, and like a squirrel, like a hamster, you go after that. I see something really inspiring and I just go after it. And if I don't, I become sad, I become stagnant, and I lose my little creative spark. And that's not good for anybody. All right, so with that in mind, that little confession, I'm going to talk about this again, this guy. I was really excited about this. I worked on it all last week, put it together, took it apart, put it together, took it apart. Then I took a trip to Hobby Lobby and I got about 4 yards of just plain kind of taupe-ish material. Didn't spend as much as maybe I should have because I'm such a cheapnik, and started work on one that, remember, this one's kind of loose weave. We were just doing it to get the nuts and bolts together about the pattern, and to get used to it and just see how easily it sews, which I have to say it does sew really well. And so I started a new one with the new fabric. Problem number one, the fabric was a little too thin, really, for a toy to be played with. But okay, I'm always going to use a fabric. It'd be great for, bloomers and underclothes and petticoats and things like that, and sleepwear for dolls. So, I haven't lost anything. Not a good choice for a doll body. And as you can see, my disappearing ink, this is really bad, doesn't disappear so well on this fabric. It does and it doesn't. Here's a little spot right here. It was worse last week. It's taken it over a week to reach this level of disappearance, which means that's a little bit of a problem, and I really am so in love with my disappearing ink marker. Anyway, I got a little disillusioned with this. I'm not through with it, not by any means, but I kind of was distracted away from this because I wanted to do something new. Now, what I do when I'm in the middle of a project and something else comes in that really excites me, instead of putting off the exciting thing, because life is too short, really. You ever heard the term put a pin in it? Well, I put it in a basket. Here's the basket. Here is, doll 1 and half-made doll 2. Here's a disembodied arm. Here are pieces. Oh, strangely, the ink is disappearing on those. The lines I need to see to be able to sew. And, we have various body parts in, waiting to go to the machine. And you know what? They're not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to, well, I hope I don't go anywhere. But they'll be here when I get ready to go back to this, and I will. I sincerely will. And if I don't, I'll rip them open and reuse their stuffing. So, with that in mind, what I really got after this week was making a pattern. Making a new doll, but making a pattern that is all my own. I don't like the idea of selling things or profiting off of things developed by other artists. You know, we had Suzanne, the pretty French doll, the maker of the creator of her pattern is a French woman, and you can see a lot of the French influence with it. It's very marionette-ish, you know, very impish. And I loved her, and she's just, I'm daily amazed at how pretty she is. And I don't feel comfortable selling something like that because that is her design. And she sold the pattern online for people to use and enjoy. And, you know, if someone occasionally wants you to make something like that for them and they want to pay you, that's fine. But it's not something I would want to build my business on. I want something that is genuinely mine. So I did some things. Basically what I did was I stripped down all my favorite dolls. Here's one. Here's Jo Kay. I've shown her a couple of times. I got her when I was 12. I looked online to see where the manufacturer of this doll went, and it's as though they fell off the face of the earth. Here, I'm going to show you the tag on her back. Once again, if anybody can find this, I am all ears or eyes or internet or whatever. Can you see that? Jo Kay Limited. Where? Bridgeton, Missouri. Now remember, this is from 1979. I looked, and you know, there's a phone number here. I didn't call the phone number. There's an address, a P.O. box. This, I guess, went out of production. It looks like a handmade thing to a degree, but everything about this doll was made for imaginative play and ease. The clothes were very quick, easy. She's very easy to dress and change her clothes, and she came with a lot of clothes. I'm going to sit her back up because she is co-hosting. I mean, look at these shoes. I actually made these shoes because I lost one of her white shoes. But look at this. Look at this design. Let me turn it inside out. This is great. I'm just, even as a child, I was amazed by this. Look, it's just cut out of fabric and folded. See, there's where the fold is. It's the shape of her little foot, stitched around, and then it's got this little cuff here. Now, the material that her original shoe was sort of a stretchy, sort of a polyester that didn't ravel. So, but I put a little blanket stitch around the edge of this one because there's no need to hem it. But see, now this folds over. You fold this down and it just overlaps here on itself, right? So, and then it just slides right on her foot. Isn't that the dearest thing? And she came with shoes. Look, I packed them all. I packed all her little clothes and her hair. Remember, her hair comes off. It's a strip of Velcro, and it just comes right off. Here's a little suitcase. There's a little suitcase that I got when I was a small child. Oh, my lands. I still have the key to it. Oh, gosh. Oh, wait. I just locked it. Hang on. Little green suitcase from the 1960s. Isn't that a hoot? Here it is. Oh, yeah. It's got her hair. It's got, oh my, her wedding dress. Yeah, she has a wedding dress. She has a little frock that goes over a little dress with a little hat. She's got, oh yeah, she's got overalls. Look at that. Look, they just left all the seams out and they cut it with pinking shears. How clever and just easy. Look, they attach with Velcro. God, that is so clever. So I'm using all these different ideas to make my own kind of doll. I loved Jo Kay because she had all the clothes and all the hair. And so that is a criteria, one of my criteria for a great doll. All the clothes and all the hair. Ease of making clothes, ease of changing clothes, that's what's fun. But of course, we like raggedy. And that was her drawback. She's a little stiff. And even as old as she is, she's a little stiff. This is a raggedy. Raggedy's are anything but stiff. They are ready to go. So I love that floppity floppity thing. As pretty as that French doll is, Suzanne, she is very floppity, and I love that. Now, here's another example. Remember Pearl? And Pearl, like I said, is very similar to this. And I kind of abandoned this, even though this is a lot more floppity than she is. The reason I still have Pearl and she's in such good condition is because I didn't really play with her. I'm just not the baby doll type. I remember having lots of baby dolls, but I'm sort of a product of Barbie. And I did a markup of some proportions, and I call this pattern Emily. I don't know if you can see this. This is my graph paper, and it's just me kind of marking out head versus legs versus arm, you know, how big, how long. So I came up with another, an early design, and I ripped a lot of dolls apart while I was making it, and I ended up with, I hate showing naked dolls. It sort of takes away the mystique, but you need to see her body, I guess. This. Oh, gosh, I know. I want a bigger doll, but for some reason they always turn out like Barbie sized. So I've redone a lot of her stuff because she's not quite there yet. Her arms are a little biggish, you know, her feet looked a little too, you know, big. And this part of her was not long enough. She's not big enough. And I think it's because I kept whittling down my pattern, but look at her fabulous hair. Oh, I went for pink, and pink, oh, it did it for me. I worked on it all day yesterday, or a lot of the day yesterday. And I'll post some pictures of how that worked out and what I did, but I just sewed a network on. Just a basic network with some stitches across this way, and then all of this was strands that I looped and tied onto strands that were sewn onto her head. And here's one of those little lines of curls that we talked about a few weeks ago that I made with my machine, and I tacked them on there, and her face turned out really sweet. She has a very sweet face. So, but as you can see, this part of her head is just a little thick right here. You know, there's always a problem. You want to have a sturdy neck, but how much neck is sturdy and how much is a little excessive? Because in the end, we want the clothes to hang nicely on her. And I know, you know, I gave her a little shape. This is basically an Edith Flack Ackley doll. That was one of the first dolls that I made when I got back into doll making, and it really is a style that I like because it's got a lot of potential. Now, Edith Flack Ackley is just, the doll is just one piece, front and back. She doesn't have a lot of this movement, and you know, the arms and legs here were made separate, obviously, so that they can move around. This one has a little bit of a figure. No, I'm not trying to make dolls so, you know, high fashion. It's just nice to have a divot right here to keep their pants up. And her hair is great. She's even got some little brows up there at the top. This pattern can be changed and done. The arms can have buttons here. Just clever and cute looking to make it a little more country, a little more primitive. We can do striped legs again, like a raggedy. We can make the hair as simple or as complex as we want to. Button eyes. I mean, really, it can go anywhere, but it was a little small and it was a little misshapen still. So I've come up with a new pattern. See, here's the Ackley head. Well, it's what works, y'all. Here's a leg and an arm. I've got it drawn out on some fabric and pinned, and I think I may just go ahead and stitch it before I cut it out. Again, just two-dimensional, very what you see is what you get, and we'll see what we get when we get through seeing it. Here's another kind of tasty morsel for you before we close down our True Confessions on Friday segment, and that is how I keep my patterns in order. I have a friend who commented that she liked the thing I did about organization and organizing my fabric. So here's another organizational tip. I'm sure you guys are way ahead of me on this, but here you go. Here's my little thing. It's just a notebook. Yeah, I know. And I've got a lot of these. Well, I've got some separators, of course. Oh, there's my son with the dog. Isn't he precious? But here's the Edith Flack Ackley printout and some of the renovations I did, and they're all in this clear sleeve. You can get them in the office supplies area, and they're just these plain clear sleeves that you put special papers in, but I put my my patterns in them, and that keeps them accessible. And when you're doing what I did this last week, which was setting dolls around and looking at how they're all put together and trying to draw the best from all of them, and I also have all these little bits and pieces of patterns lying around. They can get lost, they can get mixed together, they can get torn up, and so we like to keep these sort of in have these sleeves ready. It's an open ring binder, so I can pop them in and out. And also, have you ever been doing like a knitting project or a crochet project, and you see something really cool on the paper wrap of the yarn, and it just sort of gets lost in with all your yarn? So I've got like a little page where I've got these sticking here. If I'm, I really want to make somebody a crochet hat really quickly. Oh, look, here's one right here. These are really quick little nice patterns that the yarn companies put out that showcase their product. And so they're usually tried and true. They're really good, and they're usually fairly easy as well, because they want you to come back and buy more yarn. Okay, I can't remember if there was anything else I wanted to say, but I think I've said a lot. And for goodness sakes, don't beat yourself up over unfinished projects. Stick them in a basket. Make them comfy. Be very comfy in here. My little abandoned project. It's okay. You have a friend who's in pieces, and you'll be right over here in the floor. I will see you, and I will have compassion on you, and I will finish you. But just not right now, because I'm doing this. But I will, because I generally finish what I start. Usually, inspiration for another thing will rekindle that fire for that old thing that you kind of put to the side. For heaven's sakes, just don't stall out. Be as flaky as you want to be. Embrace the flakiness, because you don't want to put out your creative spark, flame. Anyway, have fun. Have fun. Be you. Do you. But love everybody around you. And I hope you have a great weekend. Have a great week. There'll be more exciting things coming. I look forward to showing you them. Bye.